Today we're going to be looking at simplifying radical expressions. Use the product rule to multiply. The square root of 2 times the square root of 5 gives us the square root of 10. The square root of 13 times the square root of y is just 13 times y, the square root of it. Then we have the cube root of 9 times the cube root of 3, which is the cube root of 27 since we took 9 times 3. However, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So our cube root reduces to just 3. Now we have the square root of 5 divided by x times the square root of y divided by 7. We multiply across the top and we get 5y. And across the bottom we get 7x. And of course it's the square root of that quantity 5y divided by 7x. Use the quotient rule to simplify, so we can rewrite the square root of 4/25 as the square root of 4 over the square root of 25. And we know the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 25 is 5. So our answer is 2/5. The square root of y over 16 can be written as the square root of y over the square root of 16. And we know the square root of 16 is 4, so we know our answer is the square root of y divided by 4. Now we have the cube root of 27/64. We can write that as the cube root of 27 over the cube root of 64. Well, the cube root of 27 is 3, and the cube root of 64 is 4. So our answer is 3/4. Continuing to simplify, we see that the square root of 75 is the same as the square root of 25 times 3. We know the square root of 25 is 5, so we can bring that 5 out front. And so we have 5 times the radical 3 for our answer. The cube root of 48 is the same as the cube root of 8 times 6. And if we write that cube root of 8, we know the cube root of 8 is 2. And we still have the cube root of 6, which is simplified. It's in its lowest terms. So our answer is 2 times the cube root of 6. The square root of 49x cubed can be written as the square root of 49x squared times the square root of x. We know the square root of 49 is 7. And we know the square root of x squared is x. And we still have it times that square root of x. So our answer is 7x times the square root of x. Next, we're asked to divide, and again, we can write the square root of 12 over the square root of 3 as simply the square root of 12 divided by 3, which of course is the square root of 4, which we know is 2. The square root of 100x over 2 times the square root of 2, well, we can pull that 1/2 out. If you just think of that imaginary 1 as here, that's 1 over 2, or 1/2, times this 100x divided by 2. We know the 1/2 stays out in front. We also know 100 times 2 is 50. We know we can break that 50 into 25 times 2, and the square root of 25 is 5. So now we have 1/2 times 5 times the radical 2x. The radical 2x is in lowest terms, but 5 times 1/2 is 5/2. So our answer ends up being 5/2 times the square root of 2x. Our last one on this page is 7 times the cube root of 24y to the 16th over the cube root of 2y. Again, rewriting that as 24y to the 16th over 2y. 24 divided by 2 is our 12, and y to the 16th over y is simply y to the 15th. Well, we know the cube root of y to the 15th is y to the 5th, but excuse me. So we have 7 times y to the 5th times the cube root of 12 for our answer. Excuse me. The distance formula D measures the distance between 2 points. We call those points x1, y1 and x2, y2. And the following formula is D, or distance, equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So then we're asked to find the distance between 2 points, and they are 2, -3, and 4, 5. So I have 2 minus 4, this 2 minus 4 squared, and then a -3 minus 5 squared. So we end up with a -2 from that squared, makes it 4 positive. A -8 squared from that makes it positive. So we have a positive 64 plus 4 for a total of 68. We know that 68 is 4 times 17, so we can take 2 out, and we get 2 times the square root of 17. The midpoint formula is as followed. If we have those same 2 points, x1 plus x2 divided by 2 is the x value of the midpoint, and y1 plus y2 divided by 2 is the y value of the midpoint. So if I have the 2 points 5, 7 and -1, 0, I have 5 from there minus 1, or you can think of it as plus a -1, divided by 2 is -2. And then the y, 7 plus 0, is 7/2. So the midpoint of these 2 points is -2, 7/2.